Well, here's my word. Get the hell off my spread. Now.
And for decades, one place guarded his spirit like a vault, his private mansion in Newport Beach. When he died in 1979, the house was sealed immediately. Every photo, every letter, every personal item locked away for over 30 years. But in 2011, the doors were finally opened. And what they found left everyone speechless. Movie props that broke records, a will that tore his family apart, and secrets that made people question everything they thought they knew about the Duke. This is the true story of what happened to John Wayne's fortune. John Wayne wasn't always the tough cowboy everyone knew from the movies. He was born as Marian Robert Morrison on May 26, 1907, in a small town called Winterset, Iowa. From the start, he stood out. When he was born, he weighed 13 pounds, so big that the local newspaper even wrote about it. At just 3 years old, he fell into an icy creek and nearly drowned, saved by a stranger in the nick of time. That near-death experience left a mark, but also planted something deeper, a survivor's instinct. A few years later, his parents gave his name, Robert, to his baby brother. Marian's middle name changed to Mitchell. It may have seemed like a small thing, but it was just the first of many identity shifts to come. In 1914, the family moved to California. His father's business had failed, and Glendale became their fresh start. There, a bond with his Airedale Terrier earned him the nickname Duke. He loved it. It stuck. Big Duke and Little Duke, inseparable. By 1925, Marian was a rising football star, earning a scholarship to USC. He studied pre-law, joined a fraternity, and had it all mapped out. Then one wave changed everything. A shoulder injury from body surfing ended his sports career and his scholarship with one bad fall. He thought his future was shattered, but what felt like failure was destiny in disguise. After losing football, Marian found work as a prop man at Fox Studios for $35 a week. Not glamorous, not heroic, but it was a foot in the door. A background appearance in Brown of Harvard was his first brush with film. Then came director John Ford. Ford saw something in him, something strong, something quiet. He pushed him to find a name with more bite. They chose John Wayne. Between 1930 and 1939, Wayne appeared in over 80 low-budget westerns. He filmed entire movies in just 2 days, barely scraping by. He often ate only canned beans to survive. By 1938, he was ready to quit. But one film would change everything. Stagecoach, 1939. Ford insisted Wayne play the Ringo Kid. The studio wanted Gary Cooper. Ford threatened to walk. Wayne got the role. A 10-second entrance shot, rifle raised, camera zoomed, took 27 takes. He was nervous, but it worked. Stagecoach earned 7 Oscar nominations and made Wayne a star overnight. Still, he was only paid $3,700. Stardom had arrived, but the fortune was still far off. John Wayne and John Ford made 14 films together. Their bond shaped Hollywood, but it wasn't easy. Ford was brutal. On the set of The Searchers, he made Wayne redo a simple scene, picking up a gun 17 times, in front of the entire crew. Wayne didn't complain. He believed the pressure made him better. The Searchers didn't win Oscars, but it would later be called one of the greatest films ever made. Their final project, Donovan's Reef, was almost canceled. Ford was ill, Wayne was aging, but they pushed through. They filmed in 100-degree heat. Ford, suffering from shingles, directed scenes from a stretcher. It was messy, it was hard, but it was theirs. Wayne's first Oscar nomination came from Sands of Iwo Jima, 1949. The filming was brutal. Real flamethrowers, real explosives. One blast knocked Wayne unconscious for 30 minutes. The battle scenes blended real war footage with staged action. Viewers couldn't tell what was real. Some still can't. He lost the Oscar to a role he had turned down, All the King's Men. It stung, but in 1960, Wayne bet everything on his dream project, the Alamo. He mortgaged his home, cars, even his boat. Built a full-scale replica of the Alamo in Texas, brick by brick. It became a tourist attraction and stayed open until 2009. 7,000 extras, 1,500 horses, 79 days of filming in blistering heat. He didn't cut corners, but the movie didn't make its money back. Critics were mixed. He wasn't nominated for Best Director. It broke his heart, but it built his legend. In 1970, John Wayne finally won an Oscar for True Grit. He played Rooster Cogburn, a one-eyed U.S. Marshal. At first, he didn't want the part. He was recovering from lung cancer surgery, and the role seemed too familiar. But something about the book pulled him in. Filming was grueling. Cold weather, high altitudes, oxygen tanks between takes, a torn shoulder muscle from a horse stumble. Still, he powered through. He gained weight for the role, wore an eye patch that messed with his vision, memorized the sets so he wouldn't bump into things, and then he won. If I'd known this, he joked at the Oscars, I'd have put that patch on 35 years earlier. Wayne's love life was messy. 3 marriages, countless rumors. His first wife, Josephine, bore him 4 children, but his rising fame and a 10-year affair with Marlene Dietrich destroyed the marriage. His second wife, Esperanza, once pulled a gun on him in a drunken rage, believing he was cheating. They divorced shortly after.
His third wife, Pilar, stayed with him until 1973, though they never formally divorced. After the split, he moved in with his secretary, Pat Stacy. Pat became his caretaker and companion until his death. She later wrote Duke, a love story, revealing a softer, more vulnerable man than fans ever saw. He also had a deep, possibly romantic bond with Maureen O'Hara. They starred in 5 films. Fans believed they were soulmates. She stayed by his side until the end. Wayne battled lung cancer in 1964. Doctors removed a lung and 2 ribs. He was given a 50% survival chance. He made it. Most would have stayed silent. He went public, warning others to get checked. In 1979, cancer struck again, this time in his stomach. His final film, The Shootist, 1976, was about an aging gunfighter dying of cancer. Art mirrored life. He insisted on doing his own stunts, even as he struggled to breathe. He refused to let the character be shot in the back. "I've never shot a man in the back in a movie," he said. "Change it." On June 11, 1979, John Wayne died at 72. President Jimmy Carter called him a true American hero. Thousands gathered. Tributes poured in. His star on the Walk of Fame became a shrine. But the biggest mystery of all was still behind the doors of his Newport Beach mansion. After Wayne's death, his Newport Beach mansion was sealed. No one touched a thing. For over 30 years, his personal belongings remained hidden from the world. Then, in 2011, the doors finally opened. What was discovered stunned everyone. Over 700 items from his life and career, movie props, handwritten letters, awards, furniture, were pulled from storage and auctioned. It was like opening a time capsule. But the real shock came from his will. Wayne left nothing, not a cent, to his third wife Pilar, despite being married for over 20 years. They had been separated, but never divorced. The bulk of his estate went to his children from earlier marriages. Speculation exploded. Was there a falling out? Was this punishment? Or was it part of a private agreement? The will caused lasting rifts. In 2010, daughter Isa sued her brother Ethan over ownership of John Wayne Enterprises. Even personal mementos, costumes, books, memorabilia became battle lines in a family feud. The 2011 auction was more than a sale. It was a window into a man the world thought it knew, but didn't. Highlights included Wayne's Green Beret from the Green Berets, sold for $179,200. His iconic cowboy hat, $119,500. Golden Globe for True Grit, $143,400. Even his driver's license sold for $89,500. Everyday objects, like his favorite neckerchiefs, well-worn shirts, and handwritten notes, were bought for thousands. One of the most emotional pieces? A gold-plated Winchester rifle he gave to a close friend, sold for $113,000. Also found were books on history and military strategy, a collection of seashells, family photos, all preserved like relics in a shrine. It wasn't just about fame. It was about connection. But with reverence came reckoning. In 1971, John Wayne gave an interview to Playboy magazine that still sparks outrage. He said, "I believe in white supremacy until the blacks are educated to a point of responsibility." He defended taking land from Native Americans. He mocked Midnight Cowboy using a homophobic slur. At the time, few challenged him. But in 2019, those words resurfaced. Social media exploded. Wayne's legacy was no longer untouchable. Protests erupted. Petitions demanded Orange County rename John Wayne Airport. USC removed his exhibit from its School of Cinematic Arts. Some said his films, like The Searchers, helped define Hollywood. Others said his worldview was too toxic to ignore. His son, Ethan Wayne, called the backlash unfair. "My father wasn't racist," he insisted. But the world was already asking, can you separate the man from the myth? John Wayne died with an estate worth $6.8 million, about $25 million today. Some say that's surprisingly low for a man of his stature. Others believe he gave much away, in life and in silence. His yacht, the Wild Goose, once a World War II minesweeper, was sold for $750,000 just before his death. A piece of his freedom gone. Real estate was his passion. His Newport Beach home overlooked Balboa Island. From the street, it looked modest. But inside, it was all grandeur. Bold, masculine, deeply personal. The sale of that house, shortly after his death, marked the closing of a chapter. And yet, the story never really ended. The world remembers the cowboy swagger, the drawl, the grit, the power. But behind the camera, behind the locked doors, there was another man. One who wrote love letters. One who cried at the loss of friends. One who battled cancer not just with strength, but with honesty. He turned his fight into a platform. He showed vulnerability. He told the world, "You might find a cure for cancer without my help, but I wouldn't bet my life on it." He didn't just leave behind films. He left behind a foundation, the John Wayne Cancer Foundation, dedicated to saving lives. He was flawed. He was complicated. But he was unforgettable. For decades, his home was sealed. His items were boxed up. His story carefully curated. But even now, one question remains. Why was the will so secretive? Why was the house locked for so long? What else is still hidden? Maybe the answer isn't in a vault. Maybe it's in the life he lived, full of contradictions, full of courage. Because John Wayne wasn't just a Hollywood icon. He was a man standing in two worlds, one fading, one rising. And maybe that's the real secret, that legends aren't perfect. They're just people whose shadows stretch longer than most. What part of John Wayne's legacy surprised you the most? His will, his hidden home, or the controversies still echoing today? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more untold Hollywood stories. Thanks for watching.